right. One more moment, folks. Okay, everybody. Everybody said what they want to say. Does anybody else want to come up and say anything about Chuck?
I'll say a couple.
You got something, Eric? One more time? Because there's so many stories. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, oh yeah, I remember that part and I remember that part.
I don't think we should record this part.
What is it?
Turn off the camera.
What is it? Places.
Action.
And Chuck was one to say, Chuck, you gonna get in the car? He goes, wait a minute. I look over and, oh, Chuck, he's got the door open. His pants is in the middle of the, so nobody could see. And then it got to the point like, wherever he felt like it, just down it would come, out it would go, and there he was. So like, when, you know what they say about, we go up, we go down, and we do the same thing on this end as we do on that end. Somebody else want to say something? Last little story, real quick, it just popped in my head. Have you ever heard this one? Chuck and his cousin Clark. Do you know Clark? Anybody here?
Yeah.
Chuck and his cousin Clark, Chuck was about 10 years old. Clark was, I think, a little younger, maybe not, but they were close. They were at they were on a farm. They caught the chickens and were throwing them in the air and throwing them into the pond. When his uncle caught them both doing that, that was the first and only whipping they both got. They both got whipped for it. They got their ass kicked. And Chuck said he never forgot that all his life, to be kind to animals.
There you go. Hey, everybody. My name's Will, and I just want to mention I met Chuck at least 31 years ago. It was in Tempe. It was probably the first time it was in the basement of the library in Tempe. And Bill Green, who founded AZ4 Normal, with about a dozen of us, would put a huge banner. It was about 10 by 10 with a state, shape of the state, with the flag with the pot leaf in the center at the foot of the stairs in the basement of the Tempe library. Unfortunately, right next to the kids' library in the Tempe library, but it was very open, and this was for years. And so Normal was quite the presence, and Chuck was very, very much involved. But I also wanted to mention that the Normal group, AZ4 Normal back in the day in Tempe, and the ASU affiliated Normal invited Jack Hare to come speak about 3 or 4 times over a few years here in the Valley. And Chuck met Jack and partied with Jack multiple times. I just wanted to let everybody know that.
He's that old.
He's good friends with Jeannie Hare, the widow of Jack, and he knew her long before she ever met Jack. So Chuck's been around forever. And when I met him, he was handing out copies of his South Ash Press. He had just graduated in his 40s from ASU with a degree in journalism. And so he was all about getting the word out. He was giving Normal all sorts of free ads. So that's my memory of him, and he is a good man. We'll all remember him forever. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
All right, one more story. After Chuck had his stroke, he was up at the VA hospital. And my daughter and I said, we gotta go see Chuck. Oh, did I get to see Chuck. I walk in the room and Chuck is naked, like the day he was born, only a little older, smiling from ear to ear, happy to see us, doesn't care that he is not covered up. And I'm like, you're trying not to look. And well, hi Chuck, here, let me help you out, right? And so I throw a sheet over him. I don't think it was 5 minutes later, he's kicked that damn thing off, and there he is again. So, yeah, I got to see all of Chuck. I got to do that for Theodore Christ, dude. Yeah, I had to shower your ass after you got motorcycle.
Chuck was an artist model.
Yes, was he? Yeah.
Out of U of A, artist model.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't embarrassed to show his all that day. Anyway, when y'all were talking about him showing his all, I had to share mine.
Go talk, Ted. Go give some more stories about it.
You want to say anything, Ray?
Go ahead, honey.
Because I was going to kind of tie it up with an ending poem.
No, before you do that, let me say something.
Say something, say
All right.
something. That's what I want to do is kind of tie it up where we can.
Hey, you. Hey, everybody. So the first.
¿Quién les escucha al mundo de la arena se quema la rosa?
Speak up, we can't hear you.
You can do that just fine. So the first time I met Chuck, I'm sure didn't remember meeting me at all. I was about 18 years old, homeless, living in a cave off of Curry. You were there too, by the way, Pete. They were manning the first normal booth I ever saw in my life. Briefly, within a month after that, I moved back home to Venice and saw my second normal booth. This is where I learned about hemp, the benefits of, I always smoked, I always enjoyed that part of it, but I didn't understand that there was more to it. Fast forward, the second time I met Chuck, I was with my wife. He was at a table there too. Right in front of, not the Law Sleep, what was that cafe, the free, he lays on my heart and mind, and will always lay on my heart and mind, and stirs the things that I do on a daily basis, and I appreciate Chuck.
Anybody else want to say anything?
Anybody else want to say something? Ted's gonna close it out. Anybody
I'll
else want
close
to
it
say?
out now if you want.
Last time, anybody? 1, 2, 420? Go ahead, Ted.
All right. This is time for all to end the we'll say personal experience. Hear me now, Chuck, in infinity, wherever the universe took you. There's frequency, energy that says Chuck had loved you. Now feel the dreams that holds us all. When Eric, Rain, Kathy too, all of you involved in the movement, Arizona and the world thanks you. And Chuck, we all stand to salute. And yes, don't forget a man named Dennis Bulkey. Remember Dennis, people? Yeah, what Dennis told me was I die on 4/20. Yes, it was on his death certificate. 4/20, time of death. That was Dennis, my friends. He said, all of you smoke and enjoy it. Chuck, he told me many years ago, he looked one day strange. I was sitting at his house, across from the table, we were smoking dope, and he said, I'll die on your birthday. My birthday's June 1st, and I was out to a comedy shop. The next day, his sister called. My friends understand, there's infinity and strange things out there. Marijuana, it helps PTSD. It helps all those with mind problems in the brain. It soothes the heart. It soothes the mind. It's music if you smoke my way. So have an edible. Know that there are people that know how to cook. Bypass the lung, my friends. It's edibles. That's the future of marijuana. We look. So I'm looking at you, Chuck, in the universe, where dreams are carried on. Somewhere, there's a frequency that says, Chuck Frederick Head Jr. Freedom and love for all of you, and gathering for this glorious day of the joy you people bring all of us here. Touch each other, love each other. That's Chuck.
Beautiful.